Today Baba reminds us that Baba has given us the eye of the knowledge, Gyan Chakshu. And through that, now I can see everything differently. And you see, Baba says in Bhakti, you don't have any knowledge. So Bhakti and Gyan are two different things. Now the first difference that Baba points out is that in Bhakti we think that I am the body and I see through these two eyes, the physical eyes. And then it's normal and natural that whatever you see will have an effect on the mind. So you see, in Bhakti we think that these two eyes see everything, and then if they see something which is unpleasant, obviously it will have an effect on the mind. And then you will do something which is unpleasant. And you see, in Bhakti there have been instances where good devotees, great devotees, have just taken out these eyes. They have damaged their eyes. Yes, and why have they done that? Because they think that these two eyes are the culprit. So if they don't see, then everything will be sorted. Because we think that it is outside in. So I am a body, I have eyes, and then okay, I have a mind and there is a soul. These are also concepts in Bhakti. So you think there is a mind and you think there is a soul, but you think that that soul is always pure, and then you think that there is a mind and that mind is obviously under the influence of whatever you see, whatever you hear, because basically you are a body and you have a soul. Okay, so you are a body having a soul. So when you are a body having a soul, then the soul doesn't do anything. The soul is just there, it goes out when the body dies, but there is primarily the mind which we talk about in the Bhakti and they say that the mind is bound to be affected by what you see, what you hear, whatever is happening around you. And then reaction is normal and natural. Yes. So that is why on one side we keep doing bhakti, and on another side we keep reacting and depleting ourselves. And we keep getting impure and impure because we think that what is the other way to be? We have to be this because circumstances are such. Yes, and then so this is what happens in bhakti. But Baba tells us that you are a soul and you are a tiny being of light. Yes, and Baba says, see yourself. You're sitting behind the eyes. You enter the time when the fetus is very small, around 3 months in the womb, and then you are the same. You don't grow bigger or smaller. You are always that tiny point of light, and the body keeps growing from very small to medium to big but you are the same. And Baba says become aware that you are the soul in this body, and then the body is perishable and you are imperishable. Now you see, we have always heard that the soul is imperishable, right? But we have fear of death because the soul is imperishable, but I am not the soul, I am the body. That is what we think in bhakti, right? So even if the soul is imperishable, since I think I am the body, not the soul, so then how does it matter if the soul is imperishable? I will perish. But Baba tells us that I am not the body, I am the soul, and I am imperishable. So you continue to be, you never die. You just change costumes. Yes, so in bhakti there is the concept of death, because you know that you are a body, so you will die and the soul will leave. But then whether the soul stays or leaves, how does it matter when you will die? But Baba tells us that you are the soul. So even if you leave the body, you will still be. You don't cease to exist. You will take another body, you will go into another life, but you never die. So there is no concept of death for you. And just think about this one thing, if it sits in your intellect, that there is nothing like death for me. Yes, so you will just change costume. And I remember that, during COVID, there was one person who was talking to me and he did not have any gyan, so he was just crying and he was saying that so many people are dying, I feel very bad about it. So I said, they're not dying, they're just changing costumes. So they're all there. They're all souls and they're there. And he just got so amazed. He said, how can you even talk so, it's so harsh to think like that, and how can you have no sensitivity for people who are dying? So I said, it's not about being sensitive, you have to be sensible. So you see that if you're sensible, even your dreams will be pure. Yes, and if you're sensitive, your mind, your dreams, your actions can never be pure. So we have lived in a world of false emotions for very long, and we think that living in those false emotions is being sensitive. But Baba says that no, now I'm giving you sensibility and live with that. And I'll tell you one thing, there's one sister and she was telling me that she left everything for a man, and then that man, he betrayed her. He kind of abused her for 2 years, and then he got married to someone else, and then she was left abandoned. And then she said, I cried a lot. So I said, for whom? Somebody who didn't even think about you. So she said, but you feel bad. So I said, that's very insensible. You see, somebody who is not even thinking about you, why do you even spare a thought about that person? And then she said, I have these dreams where I see that person and I'm very messed up. And you see that you cannot, so just think about the kind of false emotions. That false emotions doesn't mean your emotions are false, they are very real, but they are coming from false belief systems. So all this crying, wailing, sorrow, fear, it's all coming from not knowing the truth. And Baba says the truth is you never die. So there has to be no sorrow associated with leaving the body. So, and you see in the Gita it is written that when you leave one body, you take another. Yes, so the thing is, it's never a loss also. And the body you lose and the body you get, which one will be better? The one you get is a smaller body, a better body, always. So Baba says that you must never fall into the trap of these false belief systems and suffer the false emotions that arise from these false belief systems. But they have been there for 63 births, and it requires effort, practice, effort to practice so that you can come out of it. So Baba says always remember, practice. I am a soul, I am imperishable. You are beyond birth and death. You are beyond fame and defamation. You are beyond gain and loss. You never gain anything, you never lose anything. It's just a play, and you have something today, you have something else tomorrow. So just think about this so deeply, churn it so much that you get your spiritual strength back. The strength that comes from being soul conscious, that is back. And I remember, there was a time in very early on when I came into Gyan. I think after 6 months, there was this phase where everything was just falling apart. Everything. There were problems in the job, there were problems in relationships, there were problems with money, there were problems with 1,000 other things. And then I just couldn't know what to do. And I was in that state, and my mind used to just go in a frenzy, thinking about everything. And then I was into Gyan, so I was a good student, so I used to practice. And then I one day decided, let me just practice what Baba teaches us, that I'm a soul, I come alone, I go alone, I'm never born, I never die, I never lose, I never gain. So I just practiced that for 6 months, every day, all the time, at Amrit Vela especially, and then all the time. I just kept reminding myself that I'm a soul, doesn't matter, whatever happens, you will still be. Nobody can kill you, nobody can hurt you. You're sitting inside. So I kept practicing that, and I did nothing for any situation, because practically there was nothing to do in that situation, because the situation was such that it was all interconnected. So, and there was nothing I could do about what was originally happening. So there was nothing I could do. So I just kept practicing, and in 6 months' time, the scene had totally changed. And everything that looked like it is a disaster, that had revealed itself as a gift. And the main problem was the job, and there was some problem that was coming with the job, and that same thing which was causing a problem, it became a gift, because then the job also went fine, and the person who was causing trouble, the other people realized that he is the troublemaker, and he was thrown out of that place. So it all happened organically, and for the next 10 years, I lived in that same office without any problems whatsoever, because of that one episode. because everybody came to know everything about everything in that 6 months. And this I'm sharing because, sometimes Baba gives us many practices, but we don't do them. And I have done this practice very early on, and I know how much it matters to think about yourself as an imperishable soul vis-a-vis a perishable body. And then Baba says, you do whatever you do through the body. So, you are the one who sees, you are the one who speaks, you are the one who acts through the body. So, who is responsible for my thought, my feeling, my words, my action? It is my own state. So, up until now, for 63 births in Bhakti, I have felt that my thoughts and emotions, my behavior is because of the situation outside. And they are the cause of my behavior. Or at least, if with effort I can behave differently, but I've always thought that that is the reality, that the things outside, the situations and people outside, they dictate or they actually influence my behavior. And it is supposed to be like that. It is how it is supposed to be, meant to be. But Baba tells us that no, your thoughts, your feelings, your words, your behavior is completely your domain. It has got nothing to do with what is outside. And if there is a problem with the way you are thinking, with the way you're feeling, with what you're doing, what you're saying, if you find that not gratifying, not fulfilling, not up to the mark, then you have to look inside, not outside. You have to change what is inside, not what is outside. And you see, Bhakti is all about watering the leaves and the twigs and branches, but Gyan is about watering the beej, the seed. Because now you know where is the seed. So the seed of your life is you, the soul. And you are the one who decides or, dictates how your feelings would be, how your words would be, how your actions would be. And you see, when there is a scene in front of you, who is seeing the scene? It is not these two eyes. Who is seeing through these two eyes? The soul. And the soul sees as the soul is, not as the scene is. So, if you are happy, the world is happy. Have you heard that phrase? They say, if you are happy, the world is happy. Because actually it's like that. If you are happy, then you find everything around you to be happy. When you are sad, everything is sad. When you are disturbed, everything can trigger that disturbance. And if you, I don't know whether you have been in a situation where everything is going your way. So, for some time in my life, I have been in that situation where everything is just happening. Every person is just listening to me. Everything is happening the way I order it to be. But I have seen that I could get disturbed and upset in that situation also. Because it's not about what's outside, it's about what's inside. And Baba says that you have to understand this one very important thing, that I, the soul, see through my buddhi. And when my buddhi is not okay, when I'm not knowledgeful, I'm not peaceful, I'm not loveful, I'm looking at everything from the filter of, negative emotions, or the filter of, expectations, not as they are, but as I want them to be, then I get disappointed. And Baba says, if there is a problem with your experience of life, then look within and shift the way you are. And Baba says that Gyan is all about changing from impure to pure, because you understand that I am the one doing everything through the body, and the problem is I am in impurity. And once I get rid of the vices, then I will be able to see perfectly, hear perfectly, act perfectly, and be, and the world will look very pleasant to me. So Baba says that this is why bhakti is not about removing impurity, it is rather about reacting and becoming more and more impure, or finding temporary distractions so that you can deal with the upheaval inside. But Gyan is about realizing that the cause of your miserable experience of life is impurity, and what you have to work on is your own impurity. So this is another point of knowledge that Baba gives us. Then Baba tells us about our journey, and Baba tells us that I, the soul, have taken 84 births. And in bhakti, you think that the soul never gets corrupted. They say Atma ko lep chep nahi lagta. It is nirlep. So, there is nothing that leaves a residue on the soul. So they say that whatever actions you perform, the soul will always be pure. But Baba tells us that the soul does everything through the body, and the consequence or the sanskar or the residue of all the actions is carried by the soul. And the soul changes from sato pradhan to sato to rajo to tamo pradhan. And when we understand that I am a soul and I have taken 84 births, then what am I right now? Tamo pradhan. And with that tamo pradhan state, when I am dealing with situations, playing my part, then I'm not playing my part perfectly, nor am I feeling good about everything. So what do I have to do? I have to change from impurity to purity. That is the first thing I have to do. And how do you do that? First, with yoga power. So these are the things about the soul that Baba teaches us. And then about God, Baba says that there is a very wrong belief system in the world. They say that when you are pure, then you can meet God. Yes, after you become pure, you meet God. Yes, and that's why most people think that I can never belong to God because I'm impure. But Baba says the opposite is true. I am the purifier. So you meet me in impurity and I give you the method and the strength to be pure. So Baba says, I only meet the impure ones. I never meet the pure ones. Yes, and Baba says, when you become pure, you go to Satyug, I don't meet you there. I meet you here when you are impure and I purify you. So this is a very big point of difference between what Bhakti says and what Baba says. what Gyan says. And then Baba tells us that bhakti is all about temporary happiness. Yes, and the most important thing they say, the greatest thing you can have in bhakti is a sakshatkar, a vision. And it is said that if you have a vision, then you got the biggest gift in bhakti. But Baba says you should never have any desire to have visions. Why? Because Baba says you saw something, so what? How does that, you saw something, then you feel happy because, not because you saw something, but because you got what you wanted. So you create the desire, then when that desire is fulfilled, you feel happy because your desire that you only created got fulfilled. And then you feel happy for a temporary time and then it's the same. Yes, but Baba says, how do you get permanent happiness? You don't get permanent happiness when temporary desires are fulfilled. You get permanent happiness when you change from impure to pure. Because purity is the mother of peace and happiness. So Baba tells this also about beliefs about bhakti and jnana. And then Baba says that, you see, in bhakti there are many kinds of belief systems which now we are free from. In bhakti we think that my task is to call out to God and God's task is to change my situation. But Baba says no, your task is to become detached from the situation, connect with me, take power and make the situation better. So I don't come and change the situation. I give you the strength, but you have to detach from the situation, come to me, take strength, and then deal with the situation. And then you see there are many belief systems in bhakti. The most profound one which Baba always talks about is God is omnipresent. Yes, and they say God is Sarva Vyapi, He is everywhere. And Baba says that that is so wrong, because what is everywhere? Everywhere there is just impurity. And then why do you want God? Because you want to have Buddhi Yoga with God. And when you think God is everywhere, who are you having Buddhi Yoga with? With impurity, not with the purifier. And Baba says, because of this, you have fallen very much. Because you think that God is everywhere, and then everywhere there is just impurity, and then you connect your mind and intellect to that impurity, and you see you are drinking impure water, you're bathing in impure water, you are, doing all the, you are worshipping all the impure souls, and then you think that you are connecting with God. But Baba says, no, that is not me, because I am not everywhere. I live in the soul world and I am very pure. I am the purifier. I am the ocean of knowledge, ocean of peace, ocean of purity. And you have to connect with me as I am and where I am. And then, having said that, Baba also says that we don't only remember Baba in the soul world, we remember Baba here. Yes, because now Baba is here for us. Yes, I remember, there was a class I was taking, and it was a class where there were new souls, and I was giving them the introduction of Baba. And in that introduction, I just said, God is not everywhere, God is in the soul world. And then suddenly I felt that Baba is just sitting here right beside me. And then I said, oh, but Oh, but he could be everywhere, because if you think about him, he's there. And it was a very interesting moment, because in one point, yes, of course, Baba lives in the soul world. But then in Sangam Yoga, Baba is with you. And when Brahma Baba was in his corporeal form, then Baba used to sit in front of children and speak the Murli. And now when Baba is in the Avyakt form, then also Baba is always with us. So Baba says, you don't just have to remember Baba in the soul world, you can remember Baba as your constant companion here also. And then, but in bhakti, people don't do that. They think about God as somebody who's above or somebody who's everywhere, not as someone who is with them. But here, God is someone who is with you. And then Baba also says that some people don't recognize Brahma Baba. But do you know that Brahma Baba and Shiv Baba are always together? You see, when Shiv Baba came, he took the body of Brahma Baba. And then when Brahma Baba became Avyakt, even then in Dadi Gulzar's body, both of them descended. It was not one, it was Baap Dada who came. So Baba says, and even in meditation rooms, in centers, you keep Brahma Baba and Shiv Baba together. So Baba says, and when you go to the subtle region, how do you remember Shiv Baba? In the Avyakt form of Brahma Baba. So Brahma Baba is sitting and in his angelic form, and in his Prakriti there is Shiv Baba and Brahma Baba both. So Baba says, you cannot remember me singularly. I am always with Brahma Baba. So you remember me, but you remember me with him. So that's also very important to underline that, Brahma Baba, Shiv Baba is acting his part in corporeal form, and he is there with us always with Brahma Baba. So we have both. Although, we remember Shiv Baba, but he is always there with Brahma Baba. So you remember Brahma Baba also. And then Baba says, I give you the knowledge of the beginning, middle and end. And did you ever think that you are an erstwhile deity? So Baba says, just like, the day is divided into day and night. So similarly, there is the day and the night of the whole cycle. And I give you the knowledge of the day, because right now you're in the night and you need to be reminded what the day was like. And Baba says, I remind you that only 84 births back, you were a deity. And you had this, this state of being full of virtues, full of powers. And Baba says that and I remind you that this is a cycle, and it's again going to go back to that same state of Satyug. And you see, in the world, people don't think like that. In the world, there is a lot of difference between deities and bhagats. So I remember when I used to give the course, then many people asked, is it not a sin to think that I'm a deity? अगर हम सोचें ऐसा तो हमें पाप नहीं लगेगा. So you never can even think that I am the child of God or I am a deity. Our Swaman is so low. And then Baba says that I teach you that you are the deity. It's just some births back that you were the deity, and you are again going to be the deity. So when you think about yourself, not as you are, but as you were and as you are going to be, that also is a source of great power. So Baba says these are the primary differences between what bhakti teaches you and what gyan teaches you. And Baba points out many other things, but this is all for discussion today. Om Shanti.